The ball has been set rolling for the All Progressives Congress, APC, to hold its national convention on February the 26th, as well as for party members seeking to emerge national chairman of the ruling party. This is just as the National Assembly on Wednesday expunged a clause in the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, making it mandatory for political parties to use direct primaries for the selection of candidates seeking elective office. As replacement, the Senate gave political parties the option of using direct or indirect primaries, as well as a consensus mode for the selection of candidates, while the House of Representatives gave parties the option of adopting direct or indirect primaries. Both chambers will now be expected to set up a joint committee to harmonize the differences in the bill prior to its passage and transmission to President Muhammadu Buhari for his assent. Now joining us to discuss the upcoming convention of the ruling party and the decision by the legislature to yield to the demands of the president on the Electoral Bill is Senator Abubakar Umar Gada, a member of the APC and former Vice Chairman, Senate Committee on Petroleum in the 7th National Assembly. Good morning, Senator Gada, and welcome to the show. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Well, very quickly, let's start with the Electoral Bill. We have two positions on the table. The position of the Senate, Senate trying to follow the suggestion of the president when he rejected the bill, more or less. And then you have the slightly different position of the House of Representatives. And yesterday, the Nigeria Governors Forum intervened and tried to put pressure on the House of Representatives to toe the same line as the Senate. In other words, to join the Senate in dropping the whole idea of direct primaries. Now, what's your take on this? What do you think is likely to happen? How would this play out eventually? And what are your own recommendations?
The mere fact that the two houses are considering a review of the law as returned back to them by the president shows their capacity to toe the popular line of giving Nigerians what they deserve in terms of alternatives way of action. So there will be no issue as far as the situation at hand is concerned. The Senate included the close replacement issue of direct, indirect, and consensus. This is a direct derivation of the APC Constitution, which also had passed through processes that has put it as a working document. So if Senate added consensus, that word, that expression is also contained in the APC Constitution. House of Reps reflecting on direct or indirect, that is the extant law. The law we have as it stands today, in Section 84, and affiliated subsections, is direct and indirect. So in both cases, in both houses, there is no problem whatsoever. These are matters of semantics and expressions that bears no conflict between the intent and the subject matter.
Well, a lot has been made of this issue. Oh, I'm sorry, Senator. I thought you were finished. Do carry on.
Yeah, okay. No, go ahead.
A lot has been made of the issue with regards to the relationship between the National Assembly and the presidency, the executive. It's supposed to be, in the ideal world, complete separation of powers, co-equal arms of government. But it does appear not to be the case. It appears that the National Assembly is subservient to the executive. What is your take on that perspective?
That is far, in my opinion, that is far from the truth. These are, the National Assembly as we have it today is an independent body. The mere fact that they are independence because of the principle of the separation of power does not deny them the right for discussion, consultation, dialoguing, and arriving at the best interest or best decision in the national interest. The three arms of government are not there to fight. They are there to mutually complement one another while respecting the extant provisions of the laws governing their establishments and operations. So there is no conflict, and there is no subservience.
Right. When you said there's no subservience, I chucked a bit because a lot of people said they thought that the National Assembly will have the temerity, the gusto, the verve to look at the executive and the presidency in the face and get us two thirds to pass the law they made either ways. But what did they do? They cowered, they balked.
Fortunately, Mr. Ruben, if that's your voice I'm trying to detect, the communication is hindered. I'm not hearing you well.
A lot of people are saying
you have
that
to cast it, or you.
A lot of people are saying that the National Assembly is subservient because they thought they will have the temerity, the verve, the gusto, the strength to stand with the Nigerian people when they made these laws in the first place. But once the presidency said no assent to it, they cowered, they balked, they went back into their shells. What do you say to that?
No, don't get it right. Don't get it wrong, sorry, please. What the National Assembly are doing, they toe the lines of an unpopular line. Now they are back to the people. The amendment as required is what is popular and not otherwise. So they, in the earlier effort, move away from the popular opinion and feelings of Nigerians. But having articulated the reasons as given by the Mr. President, which were full products of consultations among the stakeholders and the various interest groups in terms of the consequences of wrong enactment or the impossibility of operating an enactment based on the cogent reasons, cogent and verifiable reasons given by Mr. President as to why the National Assembly should reflect the wisdom of Nigerians whom they represent in their responsibility of parliamentarians or lawmakers to put laws that are popular, are in the larger interest of Nigerians. Nothing can be more undemocratic than a democratic institution eliminating competitions and alternatives. There has to be alternative way of doing things if democracy is anything to go by. You can switch somebody, tied his hands, and think he will also give you the expected functions you may need. Come to think of it, what is democracy? Democracy is competition in a healthy and civilized, manner. So if you now say there is no option but one way, I ask again, what can be more undemocratic? So to go democratic is to go Nigerian ways. To go democratic is to go the popular way. And Mr. President only reflected on the realities of the Nigerian wishes, at the same time the functionality and operationability of this legislation. You have to have a law that can conveniently and effectively be implemented within the infrastructure of governance. Not just be academic simply because you want to play to the gallery. No, I salute the National Assemblies for accepting, to review their earlier wrong way of denying Nigerians the alternative way of producing the elective or the candidates for the elective offices.
Okay, Senator, well, just by way of clarification, it will appear that the main point of disagreement so far between the Senate and the House of Reps has to do with the consensus option. Yes, you are right. The Senate says, in line with maybe APC constitution or whatever, even the PDP thinks that the position taken by the Senate is in order. But what is the problem about this consensus option with regard to the nomination of candidates? Because some members of the House of Reps are saying that, it's a consensus option that allows, godfathers to impose people on the party. They just dictate, this is the man who should be there, and they call it a consensus. What's your view on that?
You see, whatever can be achieved through consensus is clear and obvious when the process is taking place. So consensus is the best way of producing any leader, ensuring that people are harmonious in their loyalty, consent, and approval. So wherever you have consensus as an option, as possible, which means you have successfully eliminated conflict of interest and bringing the conflicting interests into harmony. And that is one of the basic achievements of consensus if actually put in place. So consensus is the best option. You will agree with me that wherever people can come together and say, we all agree that Mr. Robert Ruben is our leader, and then there are parameters that are measurable, verifiable, and everybody can attest to that. I mean, nothing can be better than that. So consensus is a term. Direct and indirect are also equally terms. So if you cannot achieve consensus, then you go for indirect. For those who, because the extreme end, the two extreme is consensus is one extreme, and direct is another extreme. And then the law allows you for both. So whatever is convenient for you, given your own circumstance, you do it. In the United States of America, not only in the same party, but even in states, sometimes in counties, you have different models of, by tradition, of getting their candidates emerged. So if in a community, one particular local government say, look, we don't have conflict, this X, Y, and B is our people, and this is fine. If you have the B local government say, no, we have more than 10 candidates and no one is ready to step down, and we want delegate to decide, fine, delegates come and decide, that's electoral college. And if you now go to C, they say, look, we have these candidates, we do not want the delegates to decide our fate, we want all of us to participate. So all card-carrying members must be the deciding factor for this who will emerge. And then the local government decided to do that. So what is the problem? So the idea is the law should allow that flexibility to allow individual circumstances be achieved by realities as it happens in the different situations. That is the beauty of democracy, and that is the beauty of producing and alternative courses of action. So there is no consensus should not be an issue at all. House of Reps, I will ask them to add it if their colleagues in the Senate say add it. It adds nothing, it subtracts nothing. It in any case shows that the extent of the flexibility and readiness to go the way of whatever is popular in particular circumstance. Not in all circumstances you require consensus. It cannot work in some certain situations. Not in all situations. All these three options are options that will emerge, and where they will happen, or where they are to happen, you will see them happening naturally. And let things to have that natural tendency in the occurrence that will give the party cohesion and cohesiveness that it requires so that they can confront the candidate of the opposition party in any particular situation. When you deny people the right to do their own choices, you by that doing already discouraging them. And then any time you discourage your own party, you are by that action strengthening or increasing the power of your opposition. And a reasonable politician will always try to do those things that will put him at greater advantage, particularly when it is the unity that is in question. That's just it.
Thank you, Senator.
So consensus is not a problem.
It all calls to mind a quote by William Tweed, known as Boss Tweed, a 19th century New York senator like yourself and a kingmaker, who said he doesn't care who does the voting as long as he does the nominating. This is why a lot of people are concerned about this issue. And it leads me to my next question for you, which is on internal democracy within the APC and what has really been referred to as a crisis in your party. And in your state, Sokoto State, there's a crisis between you and Senator Wamako. What is the update on that? Can you tell us? Has the reconciliation committee been successful? Because you had different state congresses in Sokoto.
The Sokoto is in harmony. It's a united house. You cannot go and claim conflict somewhere in Lagos while we at home were in harmony. Misunderstandings are bound. When you say there's no conflict, anywhere there's no conflict, then that is not human. But what is important is how the conflict is managed. So we don't have problems that is unsurmountable. We don't have problem at all in the manner you want to exhibit it in my state.
All right, but there is conflict in many other states, the APC. If you say there's no conflict in Sokoto, a lot of people argue with you there's conflict in Ogun, there's conflict in Osun and some other parts like that. And secondly, you said you lawmakers, respect the views of the people. I ask, how do you respect the views of the people when you don't even go back to your constituents? I mean, I'd like to ask, when last do most lawmakers go back to their constituents to meet with their people? And who are you tipping for chairmanship of your party?
You are putting so many issues together. You have to separate them.
Okay, I'll separate them. I'll give you two. The first one was just
into national chairmanship.
Okay, the first one was just a side comment. So this is the first question to you. The first question is, you say that lawmakers respect the views of the people. A lot of people argue otherwise. And they say you don't even go see your constituents. That's one. Then two, the case of the chairmanship of your party. Who are you tipping to be chairman of your party? Just two questions.
You see, mischief makers are always and are bound and are not in scarcity. If these National Assembly members, they have respective entitlements in the name of constituency projects. If they do their constituency projects, where will they go and do it? If somebody from Maiduguri, from Borno State, or from Sokoto State, will he go to Lagos and put his own constituency project? If he does not go to his community, how does he articulate the issue of their needs and then to the extent of making a provision for it in the national resource allocation and then take it to his constituency? There are extreme situations, and you look at the average tendencies. Those who are permanently at home and those who never go, and then those who are regularly there. So you look at situations. You may have some extreme circumstances in terms of exception, but it can never be a general rule that National Assembly members do not go to their homes. It is not reasonable even to accept that. Forget about the fact that I was once a member of the parliament. No, mistake makers are good as casting aspersions on individuals to say they don't go. If they don't go, you are witnessing, like I said earlier, all manners of projects. In fact, sometimes they run into conflict with the executive because of the quantum of the projects, the quantum of projects they put. And they are all putting it for their individual communities. All the member of National Assembly, House of Reps, and the State. A situation whereby you have a combination, a consolidation of members of the Senate and members of the House of Representatives putting together their effort to alleviate the sufferings of their people as identified. What can be more interactive than that?
Okay, Senator, very quickly. Do you have any anxieties about the National Convention holding? Because as I pointed out when we had another guest on this program, there are many cases in court, about seven or so in the Federal High Court in Abuja against this convention. The party is divided right down the middle, from Ogun to Kwara to Zamfara to Sokoto and in every other place, Kano inclusive. And that's why the Reconciliation Committee that has been going around has not been able to achieve its objective. And there are members of your party that are saying that that convention will not go on. They will get an injunction to stop it. That's the first one. And then secondly, is there a zoning formula? Because there was a story that was out there yesterday about how the APC is planning to zone the chairmanship of the party to a particular part of the country. Are you aware of any such zoning formula, or is it fake news, as one person has alleged?
You see, the fact that you are there in Lagos talking to me, if you don't separate your questions, my mind will easily catch up the last one you said. And then the first one you put was very important and fundamental. So it's, you do a justice to it so that the response will be adequate and comprehensive so that it will benefit the audience and also solve the agitation that...
Okay, can you start with the one you had? And the one you didn't hear, I will remind you. Please go ahead.
Okay, as the last one, which is national chairmanship, you see, the good thing about it, this is the largest party in Africa. And then we have enormous and effective conflict resolution mechanism. If you look at, this is the party that the present caretaker inherited 18 governors. Today we have 22 state governors. So if we are increasing in number by state governors coming into it, along with large infrastructure of followership and other independent and credible politicians are all trooping en masse into the party. It is the quality and the confidence of leadership that is making people to come here, come to APC, so that they can enjoy the franchise and pursue their ambitions. So, like I said earlier, where there is anywhere you see no conflict, please, I'm begging you, run away, because that is not human. Any human environment, there will be conflict. And I said, it is the mechanism put in place to manage conflict. Now, we are going into the convention, the Reconciliation Committee is working, and then it will continue to work. We'll consolidate on what they have achieved, and then continue after our convention, and the fallout of it, we reconcile ourselves. So that, and it is the readiness for reconciliation that is making the party to be increasingly increasing in size. So there's no conflict. And the chairman of caretaker and extraordinary planning convention committee, Governor Mwemala Muni, has exhibited unique capacity and capability of harmonizing and putting this party to where we are today. You must give it to him, that somebody who can make governors to abandon the largest opposition party and then be coming into the party. I mean, that quality of ability to convince people and to market what APC stand for, and then what it is there, and I mean, these are very verifiable realities. So we don't have problems. We don't have any conflict that the leadership of the party is incapable of solving. No. As for the zoning is a cardinal principle of our democracy. And that is why it is not put in the Constitution in order to allow the sagacity of the political class to understand that this country belongs to all of us. And the opportunity to lead it should go around at all levels, right from the civil service, public service, and then up to the leadership level, up to the presidency. If you do not zone, then how do you achieve inclusiveness? And how do you achieve harmony? And how do other regions maintain and sustain the feeling of belonging? Zoning is what the Nigerians in their subconsciousness believe and adopt, and is working perfectly. And any arrangement, any political party that negates or ignores zoning at its own peril, because it means that it will go one way, and then call the bluff for any other interest, and that is not acceptable. We are all Nigerians, and we are all entitled to equality in treatment and equality in opportunity. So that's APC for you. We are the largest, we are the safest, and we are the most promised party. And Mbala Muni has put in place a convention timetable that even from the way you see the timetable is constitutionally driven. We are law-abiding. Just like President Muhammadu Buhari is always a law-abiding, rule of law adherent. So we do not have anything that is threatening our unity and threatening our dominance. And so we'll continue, inshallah.
Right. Well, looking at the tea leaves, it's looking as if the new national chairman of the APC will be from the north and from the CPC bloc. There's a really excellent analysis of this in yesterday's This Day by Chuks Okocha, listing the strengths and weaknesses of all the prospective candidates who have thrown their hat in the race. What is your take on that, and do you have any favorites? You've talked about Mai Malabuni and what he was able to achieve in the interim. What would you like to see from the substantive APC national chairman?
It's just to consolidate and continue where he gets the party. The party will be put on a strong footing and on the strong course to winning election 2023 and beyond. So whoever comes will just build on that. And democratic evolution is usually incremental. And whatever you do, there is room for improvement. However good you are, there is room for improvement. And we are looking for those who have the capacity of visionary capability in terms of what they want Nigeria to be as a nation, and prepare the political party that will take the nation to that level of greatness. So we don't have problem. These are great men who have come out to show themselves, showcase themselves, market themselves to say they want to lead this party, they want to be part of history. And so it is how far the majority accept each one of them that he will go. There is no provision for imposition in the party, and there is no position of say it is a do or die affair. So everybody that sees that the opportunity has fallen to his own brother, I can assure you they will all align. Whatever opportunity you see you have today is somebody, because somebody has missed it. And what you miss, another person will take it. So life is that. It is as simple as that. So there is no question of difficulty in our party that is beyond the capability of the present leadership of the party. They have exhibited it, they are exhibiting it, and they will do it to the end of their mandate.
Will the final deciding factor come down to financial war chest in picking the chairman of the party? Will it come down to how much war chest the candidate has? Because you're an election year and the party needs money.
Are you talking of the
chairmanship?
Individuals,
the chairmanship.
Resources?
Yes.
Party politics is a collaborative issue. No one single individual can fund a political party to take over power of a nation like Nigeria. It's a collaborative issue. Everybody will give it his best, committedly, with clear hope that his contribution will come to bear. And ultimately, there will be victory in all the collective effort. That is just so. The resources put together. Recall, we have had election in this country where common people participated financially and actively in order to see the emergence of their preferred candidate. So history has already have a precedence. And so if the situation demands a candidate that requires
if I can come in.
It will come to
if I can come in, I'm not sure you got my question. Who becomes the chairman of the APC? Will it come down to how much war chest, financial money they have? Will it come down to that? Because that's already playing out in some quarters.
Okay, are you saying that people will be taken or will be followed based on the quantum of resources at their disposal?
Yes. Will it come down to that? That's what I'm asking.
The account?
What?
No. We have no such precedents. We don't have precedents where money matters in our party. There's no political processes anywhere in the world where money is not needed, but not to the extent of compromising set values and standards.
Okay, Senator, you are saying that the position of the chairman of the APC is not for the highest bidder. Fine, we get that. But earlier on...
Yeah, it's not for the highest bidder.
Yeah.
But it's not for sale.
Yeah, earlier on, you were very strong on the issue of consensus. I mean, you've been in this business much longer. Yes. How do you arrive at that consensus? What is the process to ensure that a powerful man does not hijack the process? And how reflective of the internal democracy is this consensus approach? Since you may have been part of such a process before, how does the process work?
Dr. Ruben, you are part of this game. You know how it operates. You are active player in the ruling party. Now we have a ruling party, and you are talking about the ruling party. So how will an individual just run and all the way from his village to the center and then use money and take over ruling party, not opposition party? So please, I want you to be realistic and honest, even in framing that perspective, because a ruling party has a sitting president. A ruling party has all the infrastructure of governance. A ruling party is the one that is saddled with the running of the system entirely. So an individual cannot alter those fundamental realities. You know for sure, because you are part of that system.
Okay.
I don't want to defend myself, but
okay, I thought
you go ahead.
So with regards to the women in the APC, there are little initiatives, and I'll call them little, I'm sorry, because they're inadequate, such as, discounts when they're buying forms and what have you. But what is the APC planning on doing during this national convention and beyond to really ensure the participation of women, gender equality within the party?
APC as a party strongly promotes and defends gender equality. You can see the national chairman was presiding over the caretaker and planning convention committee, and he suddenly, because of the importance he attached to the women as affair, he adjourned the meeting to go and attend and then give them the assurance that they are not only part and parcel of this community, APC, but they are a leading component of it. And in APC, we promote gender equality, and we put women and youth as our energy of today and then hope of the tomorrow. So women are fully integrated in our process and processes as a party.
All right.
And my personal opinion is that more should be done, and the more will be done to make sure that the women, given their level of vulnerability in the society, are given special position and protection, so that they, along with the youth, will determine the future of this country.
Okay, you keep talking about consensus, and some people in your party are afraid. They're saying there might be a possibility where consensus might be used to pick who will be presidential candidate. Is there any possibility of that?
Consensus will be used to
pick who might emerge presidential candidate.
No, once you have three options, you will agree with me by simple logic. You have consensus, direct and indirect. These are options. They are not meant to be just vocabularies written in the Electoral Act. They are meant to be tested. So, and then they are operational. They are workable. So they are actionable. Whichever, if consensus will produce a candidate for Nigeria, so why not? Because the law recognizes that. And if any other abstention is the one that will come to bear, also it is there. So I think when the framers of the law put all these things, they are not there for decoration. They are there to be tested. And they are being tested already, and they will be tested more as the situation unfolds itself. So whatever option is available, you will be a living witness. I will call you, say, come, see the option we are carrying. And so that together you and I will analyze before, analyze during, and evaluate after. And so that we have records for the future. So there's no question of any option that will come to bear. Let it be.
Okay, on that note, Senator Abubakar Gada, I would like to thank you very much for joining us on the morning show today.